Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Monj, aka the Mop of Justice, bringing my BBL Showdown Division Season 2 Week 2 battle versus Derpinator, coach of the Toronto Maple Bay Leafs. If you guys enjoy this, feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe down below. Now, just gonna do a quick breakdown of the team that he has, as well as the team that I'm bringing against him. So he has ARCEUS Fairy, which is required to only use the Pixie Plate. He can't run Therium Z with, I don't even know what fairy type moves it gets aside from Pixie Plate Judgment. But he also has Zygarde 50%, Victini, Raikou, Mega Glalie, Registeel, Mantine, Tangela, Kamala, and Illumise. Now, basically, my thought process behind this build is basically try to make it so that Kyogre puts in as much work this game as possible. With a Choice Scarf, I guaranteed outspeed the Arceus, and I can obliterate that thing with a max special attack, modest, rain-boosted Water Spout. He has to have like a solid amount of Subdef investment or a Calm Mind up to be able to reliably eat it. Even if he's max HP, it does 88% min, so it's a guaranteed kill after rocks. I have Surf, which basically hits the rest of his team if my Kyogre gets weakened down. Thunder is specifically for the Mantine, which I'm not entirely sure what kind of variant he brings. I could see him very easily bringing either Water Absorb as a Water Spout switch in, or Swift Swim to take advantage of my own rain. And then last move, Ice Beam. I'm most likely not going to be clicking Ice Beam, but it was just, I needed the last move, and it could come in handy if Zygarde were to get up a sub if necessary, because basically, once Mantine is gone, I'm going to spam the living crap out of Water Spout, and Water Spout doesn't have that much PP, so on the off chance he manages to get up a sub on a switch or whatever, I would have to waste 2 PP just to break the sub and then kill it, but Ice Beam still hits fairly hard. But in any case, next up, we got Arena Tribe Dugtrio. Arena Tribe Dougie is really good this game, in my opinion. It naturally outspeeds the Raikou, and I can trap and kill that thing unless it's a Shuka or Shed-Shell variant. I can reliably trap Victini as well if it's not Choice Scarf. And basically, the idea behind giving it Groundium Z is ARCEUS Fairy is a massive threat to me. So, just being able to have that absolute nuke to hit it as hard as possible, if I could get it chipped down and lower its speed somehow with one of the other mons on my team, you guys will see later on, then it'll make it that much nicer for me to be able to click my Z move and just get off a heck of a lot of damage. Next up, we have a Double Dance Thunderous Therian with Mono, Thunderbolt, and Focus Blast. Focus Blast hits basically all of his electric resists pretty decently. The biggest thing that it hits is the Registeel, which I need to get rid of that thing ASAP because I don't want it to get up rocks and potentially toss off a couple Thunder Waves or whatever. Because I want to try to keep hazards off as best as possible so that he's not able to chip down my Kyogre. The idea behind Yachi Berry is that it lets me eat a hit from Mega Glalie, because I can see him running either Return to Double Edge or even Ice Shard to an extent. Obviously, I eat the Ice Shard if I manage to get plus speed. I actually guarantee to outspeed it. Basically, it's a really decent win con, and Nasty Plot helps me break through Arceus. But yeah, that's basically the idea behind the set. Agility basically lets me outspeed the Arceus. I had to go max speed just so that I can outspeed the Victini without needing an agility. That way, if I can scout for whether it's Scarfed or whatever item it is, then it'll make Dugtrio's job a lot easier. Next up, we got Vision the Zatu packing a choice specs because he doesn't really. I know having Heat Wave on a team with a Kyogre sounds kind of iffy, I guess, but Heat Wave is really nice for being able to punish the Registeel. I really want to punish that Registeel as much as possible. That's why I'm packing the Trick as well, being able to trick away a potential Shed Shell or Shuka Berry. I also have Defog just to reliably be able to get rid of hazards, and then Psyshock. Basically, with the choice spec, Psyshock means that a sub-combined Arceus cannot set up in my face. Even a max HP Arceus with the specs boost, Psyshock does 30% min. And obviously, I don't care about Calm Minds because I'm hitting on his physical defense. But in any case, next up, I have a sub-DD Marshmallow, the Mega Altaria. I know not packing Earthquake is kind of iffy, being that Registeel is actually a decent threat against being able to wall my team, but I feel like I have enough answers on this team that I should be fine against it, but otherwise, Sub-DD is really nice against him with Roost. Frustration, he doesn't have any good Fairy Resist. His only Fairy Resist are Registeel, which again, I have the rest of my team to deal with, and Victini. But Victini, in order for Victini to beat this set, he has to be Choice Scarf, right? And in my opinion, Choice Scarf isn't really that good of a set against me, because depending on what he's locking himself into, I easily have answers throughout the rest of my team. If he's locking himself into Glaciate, I can easily go into Ferrothorn. If he's locking himself into a fire move, well, I'm probably going to have the rain up for most of the game, so that's going to be weakened. Basically, the only move that he can reliably go for that will deal with Altaria is if he locks himself into Glaciate, and I mean, again, I can easily deal with that with Ferrothorn. All in all, it's a really solid win con. I have enough speed, again, to be able to outspeed the Arceus at +1. With my bulk, I can actually eat a 0 special attack Pixie Plate boosted in Judgment from full. And at +1, Frustration is a guaranteed 2 KO to standard max HP Arceus. He could bring a little Fizz Def, but at which case he's sacrificing speed, which makes it easier for Dougie to trap it and get a solid chunk off with a Z Earthquake. And then finally, I have my Pineapple, the Ferrothorn, with Rocket Octoberry, because basically this thing can actually check Victini as well as the Arceus. I'm anticipating the most likely Arceus set that I could see bringing is a Calm Mind, Recover, Judgment, and Fire Blast set, because Fire Blast deals with my Fairy Resist pretty nicely between Ariados and Ferrothorn. With the Octoberry, I could actually, from full, with my investment and the Octoberry, I could guaranteed eat a +1 modest Fire Blast from Arceus, and depending on how much HP he's at or whatever, I could either go for the Thunder Wave to guarantee that he's slower than my Dougie, or I could go for the Gyro Ball and get a solid chunk off. If he does bring max speed, I think it does like 70% min, so Gyro Ball is actually really strong against him. And then I got Spikes just for making Kyogre and Thundurus that much more difficult to switch into, as well as Altaria, and then last move, Leech Seed, just for some recovery. But in any case, that's my team builder, you guys, and I will see you guys in a second with the battle. And we are back. Now, as you guys can see, Derp decided to bring the Mantine, Zygarde, 50%, Arceus Fairy, Mega Glalie, Tangela, and Kamala. Now, again, basically my overall thought process this game is I'm going to try to go for either a Kyogre sweep or a Mega Altaria sweep. He didn't bring any Fairy Resist, so it looks like I have a decent chance at sweeping with Mega Altaria. Luckily, he decided to not bring the Registeel, but in any case, I'm just gonna decide to lead off with my Xatu, as he leads off with the Mega Glalie. Now, at this point, he has to run a lot of speed on this, and I kind of wanted to scout. I didn't really have any switch-ins to it anyways. I didn't have any switch-ins to it, so I just decided I'm just going to lead off with the Xatu and try to catch it off guard. If he's max speed and outspeeds me, I die. If I'm faster than him, I OHKO him with Specs Heat Wave. He's going to Mega Evolve, and he is going to be faster, and I lose my Xatu turn 1. Now, this immediately puts me on the back burner, so I'm basically forced to go into Kyogre to try to revenge this thing. He goes out into his Mantine, and due to the fact that he takes damage from this Water Spout, reveals that he's actually a Swift Swim variant instead of Water Absorb. At this point, I switch out into my Ferrothorn because I didn't know what he wanted to go for, and I wanted to try to get up some hazards, I think. I don't remember what I was doing that play for. Either way, I swapped. Actually, I think it's because I wanted to scout for, like, if he had any amount of, like, offensive investment, or see if he wanted to be able to break through it. But I double out into Kyogre, anticipating him to want to switch out, or help cover the double as well. He goes into his Tangela. I'm just gonna click Ice Beam and OHKO that thing. He goes back out into Mantine, and once again, I'm just gonna double right back out into my Ferrothorn. I eat that Rain Boosted Scald, and this basically tells me that he doesn't have any special attack investment, so I'm actually perfectly fine right now to get up a Leech Seed, try to get some recovery back. As he goes into the Zygarde, he tries to Dragon Dance right in my face, and I go for the Gyro Ball, and that paired with Leech Seeds does a heck of amount of damage. At that point, I had a feeling a Z move was coming out. I was kind of more afraid of a Z superpower, which would have guaranteed kill. I knew that I would eat a +1 Adamant Z 1,000 arrows. Granted, I wouldn't eat it that well, but at this point, I needed to get rid of this thing since my Kyogre is actually a little bit slower, so he could have easily outsped me even through my Scarf. I go for the Gyro Ball, and I am able to knock it out. He goes out into his Mega Glalie, and again, I don't have any switch-ins to this, so I just decide I'm going to sack off the Ferrothorn, try to get some Iron Barb's chip. He's going to double back out into his Mantine. Another great play. In hindsight, I should have read this and gone for the Thunder, but I was afraid that he was going to try to go into his Arceus to try to set up Calm Mind. Either way, at this point, I double out into my Thundurus, and I'm going to take an absolute lot of damage from the Scald, and basically, I kind of make another misplay and double out into my Altaria. Basically, what the heck was I covering? It's been so long since I've done this battle, so I don't even remember what I was trying to make up for at that point. Trying to think. So I go into Thundy, he clicks Scald, I double out into Altaria. I think at that point I didn't want to risk. At that point, I doubled out, anticipating him to try to throw off another Scald, because another Rain Boosted Scald could have taken out my Thundurus. But either way, he makes a good play and goes out into his Mega Glalie, further pressuring my team. At this point, I go into my Kyogre, because oddly enough, it's actually the most expendable member on my team. Again, I'm trying to go for a late game Altaria sweep. If I can get off enough DDs, then unless he has Ice Shard, I should be able to eat it. he goes for freeze dry and freezes me, and at this point, um, he makes a good read and goes into Arceus Fairy. I finally click Thunder, and he makes the read and realizes that I was probably clicking Thunder at that point, hoping that I could break out of paralysis on the off chance he goes into Mantine. And at this point, I can't switch into this at all. My win con at this point is I need to keep throwing off Thunders that I have to hope for either a crit or a para. He's going to be able to get off a Calm Mind, and a Recover, and at this point, yeah, you guys already know, this thing is going to sweep me at this point. Basically, I need Dougie to crit the Z move, which I was fairly certain, even depending on his bulk, even if I crit, it didn't matter. I didn't know his EV spread until later after the game, which I think he was offensive with a little HP, but either way, yeah, at this point, I'm just going to skip through, and yeah, he's going to sweep me with the Arceus Fairy. So, unfortunately, your Portland Crawdauts are going to lose week 2. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to bounce back next week when we take on Ishan, coach of the LA Lucarios. It's going to be a dual matchup of Kyogres. I have regular, he has primal, so it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup next week. And thank you everybody for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out.